Welcome to the first ever episode of our podcast, our championship podcast, which we have unfortunately yet to name. But don't worry, that will be probably top priority for our next episode. At the moment, it is just our championship podcast until we think of something more creative. I'm your host, Harrison Butler. Introduce yourself, lads.
Hello, my name is Harry.
Hello, Harry.
And on Fergus.
Brilliant. We love that. Now, unfortunately, we are all championship supporters, the best and worst league in the world. I myself am a Middlesbrough fan. Harry is a Leeds fan. And Fergus,
West Brom.
he's a Real Madrid fan, apparently, today. And then this morning he was an Inter Milan fan. And then tomorrow it could be completely something different.
PSG tomorrow.
But no, he's a very proud Baggies fan and a Cambridge United fan. Isn't that right, Fergal? So I think today's episode is just going to be very simple. Something all fans love and hate. Championship prediction, where we think teams are going to finish, why we think they're going to finish there. Like I said, super straightforward. I think we're going to start taking turns talking about our bottom three, and then we'll move on to the top six, and then we'll just talk about where we've got the other teams. Sound all right, boys?
Yep.
Fantastic. Who wants to go first?
I reckon Harry goes first.
Yeah,
Harry can go first.
So, starting with dead last. Unfortunately, Oxford fans, I've got you right at the bottom. I don't think many expected them to go up last season. They have got some decent players already, and they have brought in some other good players, but I just think the quality is not enough, especially in this league and nowadays with the Championship. So I think anything more than rock bottom, it will be amazing success, but relegation is probably a certain for them. Just above them, I've got Plymouth. Now, they have made some, some interesting signings that people might not know who they are, but I still think it's not enough, and they're probably going to go backwards from last season. And I do expect that there will be a couple outgoings before the end of the window. I know it is very difficult to keep hold of players like Whittaker and anyone else in their ranks, especially with other Championship clubs lurking around. So I think they will struggle this season. And then in my last relegation spot, I've got Derby County. Now, that I think some people would say that is quite controversial because they have actually made, a lot more signings than other clubs, but maybe that's because they're trying to catch up or whatever. But I like the other clubs. I think their quality is not that of Championship standard yet, and I haven't really seen a lot of their players well, so maybe my judgment's far off. But just from what I can see, on paper, they don't look like a club that's going to survive in this league. So that's my bottom three.
Harry, can I just ask with the Plymouth thing? Do you reckon that's more the Rooney effect, or is it just the squad?
A lot of people would put it on the manager, but I think with a club like them, I think what Ipswich did was not normal. It's not normal for a club from League One to go straight up like that. I think they did what most League One clubs usually do, Plymouth, when they go up. They have a really good season where they're, in that sort of low-end mid-table, and then the next season is vital, whether it's either make or break for them. And I think this one, it's not going to go in the right direction for them. And it's not just Rooney. I just don't think I was very impressed by the way they played. I think it was certain individuals that impressed more than anything. And it's not. There's still a long time to go in this window, and my prediction is based solely off that. I just can't see how other clubs wouldn't be tempted by taking off their, top goal scorer, Whittaker. I just can't see how they wouldn't lose it. So that's purely why I think it's backwards for them more than forwards.
That's fair. Harrison, you muted.
Yeah, thank you. We will cut that out. Fergus, do you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. So I think mine might come as a bit of a shock. I'll actually start from 22nd, then go 23rd, then 24th, because I think my 24th is quite a big shock. I only realised today. But 22nd, I've got Preston. I genuinely think their style of football is drab. It's boring. The fans hate it. I think even the manager probably hates it when it doesn't get the result. Ryan Lowe last year, like the start to the season was brilliant. Topped the league for a while, and then they just had this massive dip in form. And luckily for them, they picked up enough points in the start of the season, so it kind of evened out. But they were absolutely dreadful towards the end of last season. And again, they've not made many signings. They've signed an Icelandic centre mid from Silkeborg in Denmark, and brought in Greenwood from Leeds on loan as an attacking mid. But I think they need much more than that. And I'd probably say a new manager as well, because Lowe's been there, what, 3 years now, 2-3 years. And I think it might be the right time for a change there. 23rd, this is it's probably unexpected, but after the last few days, I could see them climbing out of it. Blackburn. I think before the last few days, they were mudded, absolutely screwed by their chairman. No money going into the club, and transfer fees all go towards keeping the club running. Like Adam Wharton left the club in January, and all of that money has gone into keeping the lights on, keeping players' wages paid. It's just a bit of a joke at the moment. But in the last few days, like even today, a few decent signings in, like Andy Vyman. He was at West Brom last year. McFadden, they've kept after having him on loan last year. Danny Bath, who was at Norwich last year. And then Gay, striker from Molenbeek in Belgium, gets like a goal every 3 games, which again isn't bad, but he's unproven in the Championship. It's a completely different game to abroad. And they brought in a player to replace Smodics because they're losing him. They've lost Gallagher. So I do think they're going to really struggle this year. And final one. Now, I did change my predictions here because before I did have Oxford going down. But I saw today that they signed Matty Phillips, so they are not going down anymore.
Hang on, just because of that one signing, they're not going down anymore.
Exactly. Matty Phillips is going to keep Oxford up. And if he's not injured. And I've put Hull to finish bottom. Now,
Wow.
it might shock you.
That has shocked me. That has shocked me big time.
But if you look at the business they've done, it's shocking. Like, they've brought in 2 players so far. Giles for 5.3, which is a good left back for this league.
For this league, yeah.
And Drama on a free from Leeds. They've lost Jacob Greaves, Philogene, Tufan, Aaron Connolly, who came off the bench, but he still was a big part of their squad. Fabio Carvalho, Liam Delap.
Yeah.
Seven first-team players from last year. And they haven't replaced them. So at the moment, I'm looking at their front line. Ryan Longman, Regan Slater, Amur, who's a Turkish winger, and Estu Pinan. None of them scream out to me top Championship.
That's fair enough. To be fair, that is actually fair enough. That's a well-researched and well-educated guess. I'm not going to lie to you. I like it.
And if you look at their defence as well, Giles, McLaughlin, Jones, and Coyle. They've lost their best centre-back, so they're going to struggle more in defence next year. Well, this year.
Yeah.
And they've lost their best attacking players. Because Philogene, absolutely amazing. Like, he could create something out of nothing. I doubt Ryan Longman's going to have the same abilities next year, unless, They have got a lot of money from Greaves and Philogene, so they might still have to spend. Who knows? But at the moment, I don't see that team doing well at all. And they sacked Rosinia, which is
Strange.
mind-blowing.
But so you know that they've already sold quite a few players, and they probably got quite a bit of money for that. And you add on top of what money they already have with good ownership. Do you not see them bringing in the required players in this remaining month? And it's late business, but surely they can bring in a few players to sort of make them in good stead for the season.
I think it's going to be a bit like what a team like Blackburn or someone along the lines of like Burnley, if they get good money for a star player, they'll keep that money aside because they won't want to splash it all at once. And a team like Hull, they're not going to spend 40 million all in one chunk. They're not going to buy players for 10 mil, like 4 players for 10 mil or 3 players for 6 mil. They're going to spend little bits of that money and keep the money in the club, basically. I honestly can't. I tried looking at players they're linked with. The only player I saw was Scott McKenna, a centre back,
Really?
and that's on the free. So honestly,
I mean, they've got on paper, and I don't know. Again, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. They've got 35 million to spend.
yeah,
With all the people that let go, that's around 40 million, and the 5 million for Giles. We're looking like, again, I don't know how much money they had going into this pre-season, but they should have realistically 35 million to spend, which as a championship club, that's ridiculous. It's mental money.
yeah. But again, I just can't see them spending that much money. And what helped them last year is loans. So if they go
That
and
is true.
get some amazing Premier League loans, like if Carvalho joins again, which he probably won't, he'll go lower end Prem team this year. But if they get someone, even like I know Liam Delap wasn't great for him, but if they got someone of that caliber, I could see him potentially going up in my estimations. But as it stands, I can't see him spending any money, especially not large chunks of money either. So
It's fair enough. Does anyone know how Noah Ohio did at Hull last season?
he's really good
Really?
player.
Yeah.
But mostly came off the bench. That's the issue, I think.
He's still young though, and he's like 20.
Yeah. I think he's got a move now. I think he's moved from the Dutch club he was at.
Or permanently to
Yeah, I
Hull.
can't remember where he was at.
No, he's moved permanently somewhere else. Let
Oh,
me just check that.
I'll have a look now. Standard Liège. Is that where he's gone, or was that where?
He was at Standard Liège, and
Was
now
he?
he's moved to Utrecht. Yeah.
All right.
So
I mean, I don't think you're far off with the drop off is going to be insane for that club because you can't lose that many key players and record a 7th or better finish than they had last season. But surely without the marquee players, the base squad there is enough to avoid relegation, don't you think?
we're talking about one of the best centre backs in the Championship leaving him. It's just like if you've seen, for those that watch the Prem, which is probably a lot of people, Liverpool without Van Dijk, so much worse at the back, so much more vulnerable. City without, I don't know. To be fair, City have a lot of good players.
They could lose one player. I don't think it'd affect them that
Like
much.
Man United without Lisandro Martinez.
Yeah.
Spurs without Van der Ven don't look anywhere as good as they are with their marquee players. So I think I just can see him conceding so many goals this year. That's the issue, and not scoring enough with that front line.
I think they should have got promoted last season. On paper, looking at the team they had, that was a team that should have been in contention for playoffs and at least automatically. I think.
Yeah.
Because the team was a good team, a very good team, a team that was a very strong championship side anyway. But
It felt like a side that if it didn't happen that year, it's not going to happen for another few years because everything came into place that year.
Yeah.
Players coming in good, certain loan players coming in, and it kind of feels like they put all their eggs in one basket for that season, and it didn't pay off. And they're probably gonna suffer because of that now this season.
I mean, having Fabio Carvalho in Championship level is a cheat code.
It is, yeah.
His quality, it's unbelievable. And I don't know how they managed to pull that loan move off, because I don't. Even the biggest teams in the Championship at the time were going for him, and somehow he says, "Oh yeah, I'll join Hull."
The money was probably good. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah, well, you say the money's good, but it's just Hull paying a percentage of Liverpool's loan fee.
Yeah.
So I'm astounded how a team like Leeds couldn't have paid the same as Hull for having him on loan. But
Money might have been in there, but I think there was Hull's preferred choice. Especially with Liverpool, coming from Liverpool, and they'd already loaned out a player to them. There was already that established relationship between the two clubs. That's probably what swayed him in that direction.
yeah,
Game time as well, I suppose.
true.
Right, I'll go with my bottom three. At rock bottom, Harry's got a smile on his face. He knows what's coming. Leeds United. I've got Blackburn / Leeds because if Leeds do get caught guilty of financial fair play, they lose all their points. That would be very, very funny. But no, I've got Blackburn. I mean, their only anchor at the moment is Schmodix. And like you say, Fergus, he is probably likely to go. And without him, they are nothing. It's been
51% of goals, wasn't it?
Yeah, 51% of all their goals last season. And having a goal scorer that scores 51% of goals is impressive. But at the same time, it's also worrying for that club, because you're relying on that one player who will more than likely get snapped up. And in this case, he probably will. Their transfer window has been non-existent pretty much, apart from Mokhtar Gueye, like you said, from Molenbeek.
I think they brought in like 7 players between today and yesterday, which is crazy. But most of them frees, obviously.
They brought in Yuki Ohasi, the Japanese lad.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not going to tell you where from because I have no idea who they are. Do you have any idea who they are?
I think it was like Sam Freese Hiroshima.
That sounds about right.
But yeah, I wouldn't have known who he was either if I didn't do a bit of research on
it. They've signed an 18-year-old left winger for 200k. Yeah. I mean, this is just screaming like playoffs at least.
Yeah.
He's marketed at 50k, by the way. 50 fucking k. Yeah, to finish second bottom, I've got Pompey. I don't think Portsmouth are going to do well, unfortunately. It could change in the upcoming weeks, but I don't really see it. Again, slow transfer window. They did sign Josh Murphy from Oxford. However, I don't think he's ready for that step up in the Championship. He's 29. He's getting on a bit. I think personally he's a League One striker. Can't see him doing well in the Championship. Obviously, they signed Silvera from us as well. I really hope he does well. Like, I really do, because there was like moments last year where he'd come off the bench for us and he'd do like really well. But other than that, he didn't really get his start unless we were like really down bad on injuries. And even then, sometimes he didn't get a game. But I'm hoping this loan move works out for him, because I mean they proved last season they play an attractive style of football. We've seen that in League One, and they battered everyone. But can they step it up to the Championship? I don't know, but I've put them 23rd. And finally, I've got Plymouth. I think it's been a very boring boring bottom three, but it's more realistic, I think. I think it'll be the same as last season for them. They'll try and hold on to survival for as long as they can. And the team that they're building, they are currently doing quite well. Like they're building a solid team. And again, the likes of Morgan Whittaker could take them quite high up, but it's the man at the helm for me. I can't see Wayne Rooney doing well. I don't know if you have opinions on this, but I can't see Wayne Rooney doing that well.
Do you reckon because he's actually had a pre-season with these players that it could change from the last few appointments he's had?
Well, it could change how Wayne Rooney does with this team.
Well, no, like I think the issue he's had before is he's come in at points where the players have been so used to playing one way, and then he's saying, "Oh wait, no, I want you to play a completely different way to how you've been playing," and they just can't acclimatise that in time to get results, which is why he's done so badly. Like Birmingham, he didn't really have he came in
No.
halfway through the season.
Yeah, exactly. He came into a very weak Birmingham City side, and ultimately he didn't do well with a weak Birmingham City side. So, yeah, I don't really blame him.
But
Well,
I
yeah,
honestly, I think I can see why people are a bit skeptical of him because you know it's a bad track record
it's
to
just
have.
about to say it's literally just his track record. That is it.
It's
And I
like
don't think we've had a chance to see how Wayne Rooney plays football yet properly.
I'll tell you a comparison. It'll be like it's like if you paid someone to do your exam for you, and this person has they're smart, they're really smart, and they're passed two exams. They've not really been they don't really know the subject too well, so they got two Ds. And now you're saying, hang on, you're going into a subject you actually might know. What's the results going to be from that, basically?
Yeah.
So I think we'll see an improvement from this time. That
Okay.
was probably a really bad analogy. I
It
must
wasn't the best analogy. I'm not gonna lie to you, but no, we kind of get the gist.
I think we got to
Um,
remember like it's gonna always be better than how it went at Birmingham because the owner's decision to do what they did with getting rid of a manager who was already established and doing well, and then just throwing him in the deep end was a ridiculous decision, probably based on his name solely. And now that he's actually got a pre-season, you might actually see what he's going to do. But then again, looking at some of the places he's been at, I can remember he had a good stint at Derby and he did quite a good job with them. But
he did. To be
he
fair, he
hasn't
did
really
do quite
made
well at
his.
Derby.
He did, but he hasn't really got settled anywhere and shown his true ability as a manager. I think, or proven himself enough. So I think this could really be a make it or break it situation for him. If it doesn't go well in here, is he going to have a good future as a manager, as a coach? I think that the real test lies here this season with Plymouth.
Yeah. In terms of Plymouth signings, well, I say signings, they got Ibrahim Sissoko from Toulouse on loan. Hoping you can tell me a bit more about Darko Gyabi, Harry, on loan. He's 20 years
Yeah,
old.
yeah. No, they had him last season. Really good young player. Very physical, very tall. Hard to knock off the ball.
That's good.
Ability wise, it's kind of hard to see what he's like because he rarely got a lot of minutes for Leeds. So I think all you really know about him is he's quite a good physical player in midfield, but in terms of his ability, I think it's quite an unknown. I'm sure Plymouth fans will know a bit more because they actually got to see
Yeah.
a lot more of him, minutes wise. But I know I liked his physical presence. I just don't think it's ever worked out for him at youth level. Man City didn't really want him. We haven't really used the most of him, so hopefully he can kickstart at Plymouth really for his
You
career
never
sake.
know. This could be his break this season. Like I said, I don't want Plymouth to go down. To be fair, I have a soft spot for quite a few teams in the league. Um, but yeah, I don't really want Plymouth to go down. Okay, again, better from Swansea. Not a bad, not a free transfer. Can't go wrong. But I think honestly, the key will be holding on to Morgan Whittaker. I think that's
I
just a fact.
if I can just interject here, I think it's not just Whitaker. I think if they lose Barley Mumba as well, they will
Yeah,
be in a lot of trouble
Very true.
because he's a very underrated player. Whitaker gets most of the plaudits, but whenever I've seen Plymouth this year, it's always been Mumba running the strings. He'll be defending one time, and then the next moment he'll be up the pitch threading a ball through to Whittaker.
Yeah.
His pace unbelievable. His end product can be a bit dodgy, but I think if they lost that down the left hand side as well, they could lose both. It could be a double blow. But
Then they're in trouble. That's when they're in trouble. But yeah.
but I have seen stuff that Whittaker wants to work under Rooney. So, and I don't think Plymouth need the money either, unless it was a mental bid like 25, 30 mil. But yeah, I think keep either of those players, and you've got a chance of staying up. If you lose both, no.
Well, as far as I'm aware, Plymouth haven't actually sold anyone this season. I think they've let a couple of people go on free transfers, but they've not actually sold anyone. But they've not actually bought anyone yet. So they sit on a fat zero this pre-season, which I don't know. It could be a good thing. It could be a bad thing. But yeah, my bottom three were Blackburn, Portsmouth, and Plymouth. Should we move on to the top six?
Can do.
Yeah.
Because that's where things get interesting. Harry, do you want to kick us off again?
Yeah, no, I'll kick off. Right, so do you want to go from 6th upwards? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, six upwards. Build the tension.
Yeah. Right, so starting off in 6th, I've got Sheffield United. A lot of people immediately went to, after the, horrific Premier League season, that it's going to be, horrendous. They're going to slip even further. They're going to be mid-table. Some people even jumped to relegation, which I think is ridiculous. I think they've recovered quite well. Callum Maher is a good signing. It's a risk because you don't know if he's going to stay fit, but it's a risk that could pay off. Kiefer Moore, fantastic signing. That's a player I've always quite admired and wish that our club would sign. Really good physical presence and a really good vocal point up front. Harrison Burrows as well. I wish we'd signed him. What a player! Brilliant player.
He had a lot of interest, didn't he?
He did.
There was a lot of teams that wanted him.
Yeah, and he's a vast improvement for them in their fullback position. So that's a really good signing as well. And they've got some decent players already. I think they had a championship squad when they went up, and that's the reason why they didn't do so well. But it will probably do more this season. So I can see them pushing for the playoffs.
I'll tell
Probably
you.
won't be near the top, but
They signed Kiana Hoover as well today online.
did they? That's a good signing as well. Yeah, no, I think they've added well. I think they've already had quite a good championship squad, so they'll be there and abouts. Just not near the top for me because there is that sort of feeling and atmosphere, negativity around the club after last season, so they're probably not going to be quite upbeat. But if they can get over that sort of feeling quickly, then things could go well for them.
You Fergus? Have you got top six or six?
Oh, are we doing like?
We'll do. Yeah. Because
Okay,
I'm actually quite interested to see in comparison.
Right. This isn't this isn't like clickbait or anything. I promise. I actually have a really good feeling about this team.
Oh God.
That's concerning me.
So, the lad who rings the bell will have a very good season because I put Portsmouth 6th.
Wow.
Actually, the lad who rings the bell might have been nicked, but Portsmouth 6th. So,
I wouldn't write it off because of what Ipswich did last season. So I wouldn't say it's out there. But
I do expect the dark horse this season.
I've just got. It probably doesn't make sense to anybody, but I've just got a really good feeling about that club. They had a brilliant season in League One last year. I've been putting them to finish top of League One for the last 2 or 3 seasons. In my little sweepstake I do. But honestly, watching them last year, they were so good. There were games they were a bit off, especially against Cambridge. There was a game against Cambridge, they were absolutely woeful. But they've recruited well. They've got Jordan Williams from Barnsley. Barnsley fans love him. He's been playing centre back most of the time there this year, but he's a right back at heart. Like Harrison said, they got Silvera. He could potentially show why Borough actually bought him this year.
Yeah.
And they nicked Murphy as well from Oxford, paying double his wages what they offered him because
Josh
Oxford
Murphy.
Brannigan. Yeah. But they have lost a few players as well, which is always an issue for clubs going up.
Yeah.
But Paddy Lane, I remember him at Fleetwood a few years ago. He was outstanding in League One last year. I think he's more than capable of making the step up to the Championship. Callum Lang, been at Wigan before. He's played in the Championship before, not been too prolific, but I think give him a second chance and he could be up there as well. And Owen Moxon, who was at Carlisle last year, joined in January, Pompey, and they're unproven, but I do think they've got more than a chance of doing well this year.
Right. It's interesting, yeah. Did you have them to go down as well, Harry?
No, I had them near the bottom. Specifically, I think I had them 21st. Yeah, so just surviving.
Well, if you put them sixth, Fergus, it does mean that you have there's like one of the big teams that isn't in the playoffs. So I am interested to see who you think Portsmouth have beaten to that top six position. But I'm sure we'll get on to that. Sixth, Harry, I'm the same as you. I've gone Sheffield United. They've made a lot of good signings. Like I say, Callum O'Hare, he's a very, very good player. But like you said, it's a risk. Understandable. Did very well at Coventry. And Keith Moore, he's a proven goal scorer. He's just there. He's just one of them that he knows where the back of the net is, and I think he could do quite well. I don't like Chris Wilder. Is all. Do not like him. That's just from personal experience, though.
Bit of bias.
Cameron Archer as well, going back to Villa for 16 million. We bought Britta Sambalonga for that amount of money.
It was a clause though, wasn't it, in the contract?
Yeah. If I think if they got relegated, they had to sell him back to Aston Villa. Yeah. Which I'm sure Sheffield United don't mind. Bit of money in their back pocket. Plus, I rate Cameron Archer a lot. No reason. Just think he's potentially one of the best strikers the Championship's ever seen. But yeah, I think you covered most of it, to be honest, Harry, with your Sheffield United shout. But I agree. I've got them in. I've got them just getting into the playoff position. You want to go? Who you got in fifth, Harry?
Yeah. Now I don't know if he'll be happy or upset with me, Fergus, but I've got West Brom in fifth.
Oh well, if he's upset with you in fifth, then he's going to be a lot more upset with me.
Look, last season
his head's
was
in
great.
his hands. His head is in his hands.
We'll see what after what I've said. Look, last season was great. Playoff push. The most likely will be in that situation again. But for me, it's about have they done enough to improve on last season? Have they brought in enough? There have been some signings I quite like. I saw recently Devante Cole. Impressed with that signing. I think it will work out for them. Really good goal scorer. But then there also are some exits. I think Yakushli left. Connor Townsend left. So that doesn't help. I've always liked Colburn as a manager. I think he's a great manager. I think he needs more, though. I think he's a manager that deserves more with signings. I think with a better squad, he will definitely take a side up. He's definitely got in the way that he sets up teams. Tactically, he's great. And, he's definitely got the experience and the ability to lead a team up. But have they ever given him that squad yet? I don't think so. They've given him a squad to compete, definitely. And I think they'll be up there again. And, they could finish third for all I know. I think it's very close in the Championship. It's just I've taken them just to finish fifth. Just because I don't see that they've done enough to just go up those couple places. But, a fifth is a good spot in the playoffs. And, I haven't really predicted who would win the playoffs. But from that position, they could easily win it. So,
I've not got there yet. I've not actually picked my winner for the playoffs, but I've got my teams.
but I think it'll be another respectable playoff finish. Could well be more, but we'll see.
Right, Fergus, let's listen to your outrageous shout. What's it going to be? Fucking Norwich under 18s finishing 5th. Let's hear it.
No,
Come on.
it's Oxford. No, I'm joking. I think, and yeah, Harry, I completely understand why you've put us 5th. Lost Thomas Azante as well today, which is a bit gutting.
Oh, where did you go to?
Cov.
Ah.
For my 5th place, Harrison, you'll like this one. It's Middlesbrough.
You bitch.
Now,
language is coming out now.
I genuinely, and I know you were saying this a lot last year, Harrison. I think last year was the rebuild you needed.
Yeah.
I think it was a step in the right direction. It didn't start the season well, but end of the season was brilliant. Players were hitting form. They were actually acclimatising to the league. And to be honest, I think the recruitment's been really good as well.
Stop.
They've got in Aidan Morris, who
Yeah.
Harrison, you can explain how good he is.
Well, I've got Borough in a certain position, and literally the only thing I put down is Aidan Morris. I don't think there's a lot of explanation needed other than that.
Right.
So when I put Middlesbrough first, just know that the only explanation we need is Aidan Morris.
But
No, I've been
told me
to.
how good he was the other week.
You are?
You were telling me how good he was in the friendly the other week.
Yeah. He's a breath of fresh air, and I'm not saying that because I'm a Borough fan. It's so nice to see. He's a lot bigger than I thought he was. He's a stocky lad. Looks strong on the ball. He looks like he wants every ball. He goes looking for every ball. Very good at passing. He seems to know where everyone is, which is good on the pitch. Links up really nice with Hackney as well. So if we do decide to put two youngsters in the middle, then I'm quite excited for that. But overall, he just looks like a player that we've potentially been missing maybe the last 2 seasons, and he was our number one target for this season, for this pre-season. Sorry, was Aidan Morris, and I'm really happy we've got him. I trust our recruitment. I trust everyone with our signings, especially over the last 2 seasons. I think we've recruited really well. But I think Aidan Morris is just going to be. He could do big things next season, in my opinion.
And like alongside him, you've also brought in Bergzorg, who was really good at Huddersfield last year in a really shocking Huddersfield team.
Yeah, I'll speak on him in a minute.
Ailing, who is just Mr. Reliable at right back.
He's fantastic.
So he loves him.
Amen.
I'm in love with Luke Ayling. He's different gravy.
But like they brought in players like that, been linked with Tommy Conway. I know Burnley have put a offer in for him, including Luke McNally and Scott Twine as well.
Scott Twine, wasn't it? Yeah.
I think that might get accepted because Bristol City really want Scott Twine back next year.
I know, but to me it sounds like Burnley didn't come forward with that offer. To me it sounds like Bristol have gone, here, have him, but we want these two.
But all I know about the Tommy Conway situation is he's not training with the first team squad.
No,
and he hasn't been.
I wanted him. I really wanted him at the club. But if Burnley come in for him, then I don't think you can say no, really.
But alongside that, Borough haven't lost anyone. They've lost McNair. Not a massive loss, to be honest. He was injured quite a lot.
He was, yeah. He was. We've had a couple of loan moves, free transfers as well. Jamie Jones has gone. One of our keepers, 2 of our keepers actually. We've had Liam Roberts go as well. Millwall and Salford, and obviously Paddy McNair's gone to. Can't remember where he's gone.
San Diego.
I'm going to say Los Angeles, San Diego, isn't it? But he's obviously going to West Brom for until January, December time till the MLS starts again. Oh yeah, of course, Hayden Coulson to Blackpool.
But if you look at the Borough first team squad, I think a lot of teams nowadays are looking for really youthful starting 11s rather than going for 32-year-olds everywhere on the pitch. And Borough have just got like a good mix. You've got the leaders in the older players, and then you've got the youth just like fleshed in with that. So like Ailing is one of your
32.
best. Ailing, Howson, and then you've got the youth players like Vandenberg, Engel, Morris, Hackney. Azaz is still young.
He's only 23, I think, which is surprising.
And Latilaf up front, I think he'll probably be in the 20s for goals this year if he continues how he was going last year.
Yeah, I hope so.
So yeah, I've got Borough 5th.
But I do need to, if any other clubs are listening to this podcast, Latilaf is shit. He's honestly one of the biggest wastes of money I've ever seen at the club. Just terrible. And he's so slow. Jesus, he's slow. Okay, I have got Luton at 5th. I'll pull up my wiki page on. It's not actually a wiki page. I've got all my notes. Don't worry, guys. I like Luton. I do. I was really happy when they got promoted 2 seasons ago. It's been pretty quiet for them, hasn't it? I'm trying to think top of my head. I don't think anyone big's come in. So they are still looking like a solid championship side. Yeah, I just think they're an all-round great team. I don't think there's much I can say about them, to be honest. But yeah, Luton in 5th.
Harry, 4th.
Might upset my own fan base with this one. I've put Leeds 4th.
Ooh.
That's definitely going to anger. if the Leeds fans find out about that, they'd definitely be angry with that. But
I think going to anger all 2 viewers we have on this.
Yes. If by any chance any Leeds fan does come across this, you probably will be upset with that. But I think they would agree that would be, a fair reflection considering what's been going on this summer. It's not a total repeat of last summer, leaving it all late, but it's quite similar. Some deals got done early, like Archie Gray leaving quite early, but then there's other deals that have taken a while to go through the door, and that's Somerville. I expect is probably going either tonight or tomorrow, any day now. So that's 2 big players you lose. We have brought in some good players. I like the look of Jaden Bogle so far in pre-season. He's doing a lot of the same stuff that Luke Ayling used to do for us, which is always a positive. Joe Rothwell, a player I quite admired from last season. I think someone that Southampton should have used more. His impact off the bench was incredible. So for those big games, it will be a good help in midfield. It's good to have strike fit as well, so that Ampadu can play midfield more. That's definitely a bonus for us. And there's Mateo Joseph, who looks like he's going to have a breakout season for us. But you take 2 clear key players out of that squad, and the slight improvements in defensive midfield, it's not a forward step for us at the moment. And there's plenty of time left in the month, but rumours are quite flat at the moment. It's quiet rumours. It's nothing concrete at the moment. So, I mean, I don't know what Falk's doing at the moment. Really, I know he likes looking into the Bundesliga German market, but it's not going in the right direction. I believe, and I think we could be in for another sort of up and down season, really, and that's quite typical of Leeds. So yeah, I think we'll just have to wait and see. I mean, I hope I'm proved wrong. I hope we have a good late flurry of signings to finish this month. But yeah, no, it's sort of a similar feeling to last season, really.
Do you reckon it's more the fact of losing Somerville that's made you less confident this year?
Oh, definitely. I mean, to keep a player of his ability in the championship makes all the difference. Because I saw someone say on Twitter, you can't replace a player like Archie Gray, but you can replace a player like Somerville. Well, I disagree with that. I think Archie Gray is one in a million. You don't get youth academy products like him, but you equally don't find players like Somerville,
No.
that often with that amount of goals and assists, and not just that quality as well in the second division. That's just not it's not normal. I couldn't believe that he stayed last season. That's how good I think he is. I thought it was quite good of him, or quite incredible to think that he even had one season in the championship. So yeah, it makes a lot of difference. There are other players there. I really like Rutter. He's great. He'll be a key player this season. There's other players that really need to have a better season this year. I mean, Joe Perot. I mean, we paid so much money for him. And off the back of scoring 30 goals to go into like just 12, that's a major disappointment for his standards. So our season will depend on a player like him stepping up as well. But as you said, Faze, losing a player like Somerville, it does really make a lot of the difference.
Yeah.
Do you reckon it will get to a point in the season where, let's say, if you're not really competing with the top two, you could see Farker leaving or getting sacked?
Yeah, that's something I've discussed already. I did think that I expected the club that might have sacked him after the playoff defeat. I think, he made the point that he had to start late last season, like he wasn't able to make his signings as early as he'd like, and the summer was sort of determined through the loan departures and the departures of other key players. But once he had that difficult start September out of the way, he had plenty of the season to get things right. And the straight fact is, towards the end of the season, he got it wrong, and we got it all wrong. We sort of threw it away, and I think that does play a part down to him. He's having a coach like him at your club. What you know about him is that he's not really one to change stuff tactically during a game when things aren't going right. Making the right subs or taking the players off, and he doesn't rarely change his starting lineup. He likes to go with the same lineup a lot, and that sometimes could be quite frustrating as a fan because that changes need to be made. And I think if things are starting to go wrong again, and you're seeing the same things happen from last season where he's not making the right changes, he's not making the right subs, I'd be perfectly happy for them to look for another manager. But as everyone says, who would you get? Who do you know that's available, and who would do better than him?
Southgate, mate.
I wouldn't want him. But yeah, we'll just see. We'll see how it goes, and if he can get the signings he wants and actually get a good start to a season, then who knows? Things might be different this year.
Fergus?
I've got Luton to finish fourth.
Okay. Yeah.
I think Rob Edwards is an unbelievable manager. I know he played for Wolves, and it hurts me a lot to say that he's a good manager, but I'm saying it anyway. But he did brilliant things with that team. In the Prem, I thought Luton, well, statistically, they were the best promoted team. And to be honest, I thought whenever I watched Luton, I just enjoyed watching them play. For the players they had to compete in that league was unbelievable. Like Adebayo, he wouldn't have thought a few years ago he'd be playing Premier League football and scoring double digits in the Prem as well, which is
pretty impressive.
Crazy. Same with Carlton Morris as well. But I think the way they play, I think they'll have another good year. Kaminsky in goal, really good goalkeeper for this league as well. He showed it in the Prem, kept him in a lot of games in the Prem. Alfie Doughty, people were saying, call him up for England. He was that good in the Prem. But honestly, their attack, I think will probably be the most dangerous part about them. Adebayo, Chong, Morris, Ogbene.
I'm
They are
surprised Chong's still at Luton, to be honest.
four quality
Yeah.
attackers, and I think they could cause a serious problem for a lot of teams in this league. And they've not lost anyone of note really. Like they lost Barkley, but he was going to go anyway. I think he was always going to go after the season he had in the Prem.
How
But
big do you think that's going to affect him going to Aston Villa?
I can't in the if it was in the Prem, massive. In the Championship, completely different ball game.
Right.
They brought in Baptiste from Brentford now, so I think he's going to take over that role. But no, I can see him doing very well this year, fourth if not higher.
Signed that Ruel Walters as well from Arsenal on a free transfer. He's only 19. He could have a good season. You never know.
Yeah.
Fourth, I've gone with Middlesbrough. Surprise, surprise. What?
No, just I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised.
See, I thought you would be because I have been talking them up big for like the last couple of months.
You know what? At the start I thought, oh, he might have put them top, but I didn't think you were that deluded. So
No. Like I said,
I've
I have
seen
changed it.
recently because I thought you'd put them first or something.
No, yeah, I've gone sensible. I do think we have a very, very good shot next season, and I do want to say that. I think we do play very, very good, very electrifying football. It's fast paced, it's attractive, and I do rate Michael Carrick a lot as a manager. Like I said, our signings this season I've been very happy with. Aidan Morris, buzzing to get him. Bergzorg was a strange one for me. I didn't really see many rumours floating around before we signed him, and he kind of just came out of the blue. But after watching him play, I can say he's going to be a player that splits fans next season. He's going to be one of those Marmite players. I think a lot of Borough fans are still reserving judgment, and that's fair enough. But he could split a lot of fans next season. This is the problem Huddersfield fans had with him as well. He's very selfish. I've seen him play twice now. He's so good at running with the ball, taking players on. From what I could tell, he's got a fairly good shot on him as well. And he just looks like a genuine threat. But there's also the side of him where he's moving forward, he gets past one or two players, and all he has to do is square it off to Coburn or Lath, and he doesn't. He tries to take on the extra one or the extra two men, and he'll lose the ball. And I'm hoping Carrick can coach that out of him. But yeah, we'll have to see for next season. But if we can kind of control him a little bit, he's going to be one hell of a player. He could slide very nicely into that Akpom role. Luke Ayling, what a player he was for the last half of the season. He recorded the most assists in one season in his career in that half of the season than any other season, which I think is pretty mad. I think the way we've got him playing, it's just he prefers it probably. The only thing that I'm really hoping for is that he doesn't get injured, because I think one big injury and we could genuinely see him hanging up his boots next season. And I think everyone would hate to see that, because he's a Championship legend. I mean, he's a league legend as well, isn't he, Harry? But
I think the move was quite good for him because in that sort of he plays in that wing back role a bit more at Middlesbrough than he ever did at Leeds. It was more of a traditional fullback for us. I mean, in the Bielsa days, he did push forward a bit more, but I think I'm quite happy to see how he's doing at Borough, playing a bit further forward, because you know where his weakness lies is his defensive abilities. So if you can shove him up the field a bit more, then you get less
I
of
mean,
that
it's
weakness.
mental. But you see him, like, he'll run up for 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 the attacking play of football, and then you'll just see him, 32-year-old Luke Ayling, sprinting back to his defensive duties. It's fantastic, and he's very quickly becoming a fan favourite, and I don't blame him because I really do like him. Someone, I don't know if you know, we've signed 16-year-old Harley Hunt from Swindon. I think he cost us around 1.5 mil, 2 mil ish. There was a lot of bigger clubs interested in him, but we've snapped him up. I think he's gone straight into the youth academy, and hopefully from there we can see him grow a little bit. Our youth academy is spurting out some absolute weapons at the moment. We've got Sonny Finch, who's joint top scorer in pre-season, which is pretty impressive. He's hungry, man. He's hungry for goals, and he looks so fast and quick. Very excited to see him. We've also got McCormick as well, left back. Again, looks fast, quick. However, we have played League One and League Two sides, so is the step up to the Championship a bit too much? We'll have to wait and see. And I've already touched on Aidan Morris as well, but if we can avoid any major injuries next season, and if we can start how we finished last season, I think we've got a good chance at playoffs and possibly promotion next season.
Yeah.
Any questions? No. Harry, who have you got in third?
So my third it's really difficult for me between third and second. Easily second could have been third, and easily third could have been second. But
This is the problem I had as well, Harry.
Yeah.
The top six this season is by far one of the strongest I've seen it.
It is, and that's the thing with trying to predict the championship. It's like the places are very it could easily sway either way. But I've just about with third gone with Luton. Coming down from the Premier League, there's already quite a good squad there already. You've touched on some of the players they already have. Even with losing Ross Barkley, it's a good squad. You expect them to be thereabouts again. In terms of recruitment, you've mentioned both the players. Baptiste is a player who's really not got to show much of his talent at Brentford, and hopefully you can, with a bit more game time, you can impress for Luton. And a really good kid in Walters from Arsenal, that will definitely be a great addition for them. But you talk about some of the players they've already got. That's what's going to be key for them. Keeping the likes of Tahith Chong, Doughty, Morris, Adebayo. Yeah, great players. They'll be thereabouts. Could easily get in the top two, but I've just put them third purely because there is probably what happened last season, and the possibility that players who did it for them first time around the Championship don't perform this time round.
I like the look of Luton. I do. I think they look very strong. And to be honest, I can't see them maybe pushing for automatics, but it's tight. It'll be tight next season.
Can they do it again? That's the question. Can these players turn out in the Championship again now that they've had a season under the belt in the Premier League? I mean, all questions would say, yeah, definitely. It's obvious, but you never know. It might not be the same this time round, so we'll have to wait and see with that.
Yeah. Fergus? Who have you got, Fergus?
I have got this
team. Oh, there it is.
I did.
Hang on, wait. I'm the deluded fan, am I?
Right. Well,
Third.
I did have us to finish second. Can you stop? Right, stop. But I've seen a team in particular who I am very impressed with. So I put us third instead. I just think we've got the best manager in the league. I honestly, tactically, he is the best manager in the league. And he proved it with Huddersfield. He took a struggling Huddersfield side and got them into the playoffs. And he worked under Bielsa. I mean, that says it all. He's a genius. And in all honesty, the team's not there yet. Okay, it's not there yet. We've lost Thomas Asante to Cov, which we got 4 mil from, so I'm pretty happy about that.
You're happy with 4 mil?
we bought him for 300 grand. So
Yeah,
That is a very good return, but I don't know. I rate Thomas Asante highly. I do. But yeah,
tell you the issue we had with him is when we played him in to finish chances, he didn't, and we needed those goals more than anything. And our XG was dreadful. If we had a lethal finisher, we would have done so much better last year. We just couldn't take our chances. If we had a target man, we'd have been much higher in the league. But Yukuslu's left us as well. Gutted,
yes.
absolutely gutted about that one. Because in my opinion, he's easily the best defensive midfielder in the league. Townsend's gone to Ipswich. He's 31 now. He was a brilliant player for us in his day, but he was just too error prone recently. And I'm glad we got a bit of money for him. I think it was like 700 grand or something like that. And we lost Kipra. It was our best centre back last year. So we've suffered some heavy losses. But we brought in Paddy McNair, who I think could be really good for the 6 months that we have him for.
He's a veteran. He'll work anywhere.
Don't know why we signed him for 6 months, but I'm hoping it works. We've got Joe Wildsmith on loan, not on loan, on a free from Derby. Devante Cole, I'm hearing mixed things on Devante Cole. Scored a lot of goals in League One. Not a great attitude, apparently. So hopefully
okay.
We signed Usman Diakite from Hartberg, he's an African centre mid. Was at Salzburg's academy, so I'm hoping he can get into form. He's had injury issues in the past, but hopefully he can get back to how he used to be. And we signed Torbjorn Hegem from Brommapojana in
The centre back.
Sweden. Yeah, he can play left back as well. But I'm hoping that in the next few days we get a left back in, we get 2 strikers in, and we get 2 centre mids in. We've got a 7 mil transfer budget now.
So that's only half your team, really, isn't it, that you need in?
2 strikers, because DK, as much as I love him,
Could we see the return of DK next season
he'll be playing for about 2 or 3 months
before he gets injured again?
No, that's if everything goes well with his injury.
I think as much as I do clown on you for your DK obsession, I do like DK, but he's never got his chance to shine, unfortunately.
Honestly, so what is his injury? Is he out for most of the season then, or?
He's out for another 5 months, 6 months.
So frustrating.
He tore his Achilles. The first injury he got, he tore I think it might have been his right Achilles, and then the second injury, he tore his left Achilles. So, and that was in the space of a week 2 weeks after coming back from injury.
It's so unfortunate.
But
really unfortunate.
I'm hoping he can actually hit the ground running without getting injured this year. Because I do think he genuinely loves football, and I think he loves the club, so I would love to.
You do have to know, you'll have to realise as well that when he comes back, his confidence will probably be at an all-time low as well. Yeah. So I reckon in terms of getting back into it, it'll probably take him quite a bit longer than a lot of the other players. But yeah, hopefully we see more of him next season, genuinely.
But we've also been linked to Tom Cannon on loan, and apparently that's quite strong in the rumour mill at the moment. So hopefully we'll build a good enough squad to get us promoted. But I am very optimistic, and I think Tom Fellows is a name to look out for this year.
And I will look out for him. I promise you I will.
But what do you say, like, in terms of West Brom's season, does it really rely on who's going to be your goal scorer this year? Like, is it going to be Devante Cole? is DK going to get fit in time and make an impact, or is it, like you said, going to be someone like Tom Cannon you bring in? Because that seemed to me be the key issue last year. Because defensively, you look great, you had a great midfield, but you lacked that one sort of leading goal scorer.
I'll tell you the issue we've got is we've got brilliant wingers, brilliant wide players. Cross the ball in, no one's there. No one's there whatsoever. Asante was having to do all the running up front by himself, and he's not a target man, so he won't be on the end of headers. I think if we had someone like DK fit, he would have scored about 15, 20 last year.
And that's someone you need.
Jed Wallace has the best delivery of a player I've seen in a while. His delivery is exceptional. But I do think if we just get that one target man who can be on the end of all these crosses that we make a hell of a lot of chances. We'll see a dramatic improvement from last year. Harrison, what about you?
I've gone with Coventry. Okay, no one shouting. You are?
I like it.
Yeah.
That's how the box that. Yeah.
As a club, they're probably one of the most mentally strong teams in the Championship. The whole philosophy they have at the club is genuinely scary. Have you ever watched Cobra Kai or like any of the Karate Kid films? It's strike first, strike hard, no mercy. That's Cobra Kai. Cobra Kai is Coventry. All right, they are just this. They honestly just scare me. They're strong. They're a strong side. And yeah, I do still have nightmares about them beating us in the playoffs. And maybe that's what's got them in a chokehold for me. But they're the bullies of the Championship, in my opinion. They play very, very good football. And yeah, unfortunately, I do miss them. I do have them missing out on automatics, but yeah, I can see him doing very well next season. Jack Radoni from Huddersfield, good signing. Still young, still only 23. Wait to see what he can do. Thomas Asante, not really heard of him. I think we've talked enough about him, but yeah, we know what he can do. Fortunately, Lewis Binks from Bologna. They're building a very strong side, in my opinion, and they are someone we have to look out for. So yeah, Coventry City, and we copied their home kit this season. So
my only question would be is like, do you really think that they've added that much to improve on what they did last season? Because we all know how well they did the season before last season. We all know how good of a manager they've got.
Yeah,
but is there enough? Have they done enough really to have
they're adding strong players to a strong team. And I don't think we saw the best out of that team last season. But I think in and around the club, they look really good. So yeah, strong side, and we should be worried.
Especially Barra.
Fuck that! I'm winning the league. I've just put us in fourth to make you feel better. Right. Now we get down to the good stuff. And unfortunately, you will have to pay £5 on our Patreon if you want to see the rest of it.
Yeah.
Taking the piss. Harry, do you want to start us off with who you've got top two?
So it's kind of strange this because I imagine he's put my club higher than his club, and I've put his club higher than my club. So I've gone with Middlesbrough in second. Yeah, this is quite strange. This.
It is strange. It's very strange.
You might have. I'm not saying anything, but I'm assuming you've rated Leeds high. I'll leave that for later. But my reasoning being, I really did like watching Middlesbrough play towards the end of last season. And there are a lot of games last season which were hard to watch as a Leeds fan. And one of them being was against Middlesbrough. Now, we did beat them twice, but that second game, I don't think, as a fan, I've ever been had more heart trouble watching a football game than I did against Borough. I mean, they
They were both fantastic games, by the way.
they were great games,
Home and away, they were fantastic games.
and I think that second game really did show the true sort. Even though they didn't win, it showed the true sort of ability of that squad. Because I don't think it was the fully fit squad they had. Because that's one of the key issues Borough have had is having a fully fit squad for a season. Last season was, I mean, you said it was horrible. They had so many different injuries at different times.
So many injuries. We beat Chelsea on bare bones.
And I think with a fully fit squad, it's probably one of the best championship squads on paper in this league. And there's some really good key players. Lat is a top championship striker. And with a fully fit season behind him, you would expect him to be at the top or near the top. You've already got great season pros, as you mentioned, Johnny Howson, Luke Ayling, who seems to have gotten better since he's left Leeds, which I didn't think was possible. But I suppose in that role that he plays, he doesn't really sort of expose his defensive weakness. And as you said, you've added well. Aidan Morris looks like a tidy player. Bergsog, could pay off if he is the player that you want him to be, and he doesn't turn out to be, just someone who's quick but not very intelligent or on the ball or anything. The only difference, or the only thing that might not, because I did say you were close with Luton, the only thing that might push you out of the top two is that extra bit of quality, or like that quality to get you up. Luton do have a lot of that in abundance, so that might be the thing that slips you to third. But if everyone stays fit and everyone performs, which is a tough ask, you would expect Borough to be in that top two. And
I'd like to think so anyway.
And you might have players like Hayden Hackney who even gets better as well. He's a player you expect just to get better and better. He's got bags of potential. So, and Brad Vanderberg, you've talked about him a lot. He knows
oh my God,
how good his potential is as well.
This episode, but yeah.
If those players improve and get better, then that's only going to make Middlesbrough a better team. So I don't think it's silly to say that Middlesbrough will be on a promotion push next season, bearing everything goes right.
No, I think that's probably accurate, especially like you said, we have a very, very strong team, and second place isn't completely out of reach. And I think with any other, what are you laughing at? You?
I want to hear from the non-Middlesbrough fan about this.
I think there's a few teams that are better than Borough, and I think I get what you mean by the players improving, but I think the teams with the more experience will finish above them. And that's not me like digging at Borough, because I like Borough, I like how they play. I know. I think the team it's young, it's good, but I think the youth might be what keeps them stuck behind the two leaders of the pack, really.
Yeah. Do you think you may be sort of talking about experience in promotion experience, because there's probably a lack of it there? Maybe not experience in age.
I think it's mainly that, and experience in big games. I think most of Borough's squad haven't experienced, like a playoff semi-final. I know they were in it before, but the team they've got now, the majority of that squad haven't experienced that kind of pressure before.
That's very true.
And I think if they were in the top two, I think they'd then feel the pressure. Oh, wait, we need to keep winning. They're catching us up. And it could get to them just because of their youth and inexperience.
That's what happened to us in our first season with Carrick. We were going really strong, and then we kind of huge dip in form. And I think the pressure got to us. And the most recent case of that was beating Chelsea at home, greatest match of my life. And then the pressure, we lost the pressure, or no, we didn't lose the pressure, but the pressure got to us in the second leg. You could tell the lads were nervous. And it's a big occasion, big stadium, big team, and we absolutely crumbled completely. And we got battered 2-1.
But I don't think it's a bad shout, Harry. I don't think it's a bad shout.
No, it's so tight in this league, and it really just depend on if certain players stay fit. And who knows who the club might add as well. It's just a squad that feels like it's been waiting to do something for a while, and you might feel like this is the season they do it. And we all know what a great manager Carrick has proven to be. I
Yeah.
mean, he's done great work since he's come through the door, and you just think that one of these seasons is going to happen, or if it doesn't happen, then maybe he has to move on somewhere else. But you just feel like it has to happen at some point, considering what he's done so far, which is great.
He's done everything right so far. And we
But
just
get
got really
promoted.
unlucky last season with form and injuries and stuff.
Love
But
that.
yeah, no,
No, but it's not a joke. It's the final step for
no,
him.
of
But
course, no, of course, yeah,
getting
100%.
it done. That's
Um,
that's what he'll want more than anything. I'm sure he's
yeah,
hungry to finally get it done with Borough. So maybe that drive, sort of that feeling towards it, will boost them towards that top two spot.
and
Win.
fingers crossed because it is going to be tough this season, but we can hope.
Fergus, who have you got?
Now, it was a toss up between two, but I've gone for Leeds to finish second. I think most people will have them to win the league or finish in the top two. Their squad is mad compared to ours. It's mad.
Mm-hmm.
I thought bringing in Roden on the permanent was brilliant business. I think Bogle as well from Sheffield United, really proven Championship level. Good right back, very good right back for this level.
Yeah.
Same with Rothwell, Championship level. A few seasons ago at Blackburn before Bournemouth bought him. Absolutely amazing. Then went on loan to Southampton last year. Played really well again in the Championship. And to be honest, I think that's kind of what I was talking about with experience in the Championship with Borough. I think this is why Leeds will do it.
Yeah,
They're bringing in
because they
players
have
that
that
are proven.
experience. Yeah,
They're bringing in players that are proven to do well at this level, and I think that's what you need. I know, like the goalkeeper situation at Leeds is a bit strange because Meslier, lots of people rate him, but then when you watch the games, you're like, hang on.
he is shit.
Harry, you can probably explain more
Well,
about this.
it's it's a love hate relationship because I always thought the Melly when he first came through was fantastic. You were very confused because he was this quite sort of very thin looking, not didn't look like a physique of a goalkeeper, and he was really good to begin with. But as the seasons have gone by, and especially the last couple of Premier League seasons, it's not gone well for him. Last season, his performances kind of went unnoticed because of how good the defence was. A lot of the clean sheets he had, and I think he did finish near the top, but you wouldn't put it down to him. You'd put it down to the defence. I mean, and the one flashpoint I remember is why I don't trust him as much was the Preston game, Boxing
Oh
Day, where he
God,
got
yeah.
sent off. Like, I think his shot stopping is brilliant, but he just has these sort of unprofessional moments where, whether it be a lack of concentration or losing his temper like that or anything, there have been a lot of times where he's cost us, and I wouldn't really be too bothered if they did replace him, but it seems like Fark is going to go with him again and trust him again. So I just hope he doesn't cost us too many points next season.
How come you brought Alex Cairns in as well, Harry, from Salford?
That's purely to meet the sort of requirement of English players in the squad. I think there's nothing else. And
Right.
he'll just be a third choice goalkeeper. Very much like Scott Carson is to Man City. I think that's exactly why he's at the club. But I'll welcome him back. He's second time at the club.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's fit
a
when he can
lot
work.
different in those days when he was with us. But yeah, nothing more to that really.
And then
Go on,
think
Fergus.
I think you'll probably agree with me on this, Harrison. Leeds' attacks is the best in the league.
Yeah.
Their attack.
On paper, yeah. we will have to wait and see. But I might as well say it out. I've gone with the same as you, by the way, Fergus. I've got Leeds to finish second. Same reasons as you, pretty much. Joe Rodon, arguably one of the biggest names in the Championship this season. I mean, he could prove fucking incredible for you next season. What I didn't realise was he's only 26. For a defender, that's fairly young, that. So I still think he's got a bit more to give, you know. So yeah, I reckon he's got a bit more experience behind him.
It's quite actually that surprises me that he's 26 because for me it wasn't so long ago that he was coming through as a young 20-year-old. I can't believe he's that old actually.
Oh, see, I thought he was older. I thought he was pushing 30s, to be honest. But yeah, he's still got stacks more to give, and if he can do it with Leeds, fantastic. And I think he could be. I mean, arguably he's one of the best defenders in the Championship at the moment. But yeah,
the key thing for us is having him and having Strike back, because one of the main problems we had is, although he was fantastic at the back, Ethan Ampadu in midfield is far more important for us than him in defence. When he moved back to defence, it was our biggest weakness, our biggest hit to us. Because if you think he's good in centre half, he's even 10 times better in midfield. Because he's, for me, he's the first direct replacement we've had for Calvin Phillips in all our attempts. You know, Weston McKennie, Mark Rocker, they haven't replaced the Phillips in that sense. Those two were terrible. So he's the first real sort of good holding player we've had since Calvin Phillips. So I'm really keen to see how he does in midfield again, and I think he'll be the key difference for us in that midfield spot.
I hope so. I do. Now, top of the league, I think we've all gone the same. Unless Fergus has gone like QPR or something, and then we're. I think have we all got Burnley?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fergus? Fergus, have you not got Burnley?
No.
Have you said Burnley already?
No.
Should we talk about Burnley first, and then we'll hear about this?
Yeah. So just kind of main thing, they've spent £36 million this transfer window, which in the Championship is mental. And they've spent even more money on that Genk winger Tressor, 18 million, which in the Championship is it's stupid. Put your finger down. It's not a classroom.
Can I just say something about that Trezor?
Yeah.
I've got a fun fact about him, actually.
Oh, God.
He played 19 games for Burnley last year in the Prem on loan.
What was it? Yeah.
No goals, no assists.
If you'd have let me, I was going to get onto that.
Sorry.
And for 18 million, I do think there's quite a lot of pressure on his shoulders. However, in all the matches he played last season, surprisingly enough, he didn't get any goals or any assists.
Just give it to
Fun fact, yeah.
No more fun packs. You've been banned from fun packs. And obviously Maxime Esteve as well. And I will let you chime in on him, Fergus, because I actually don't know that much about him.
Do you want me to talk about Esteve?
Yeah, Esteve. I like Esteve better.
Okay. So, fun fact about Esteve.
Harry, so...
he was very highly rated at Montpellier. Then that's why Burnley brought him in halfway through last season. He made a slight difference in their defence. I wouldn't say he was crucial. When I say slight difference, they conceded less goals.
Right.
They were still conceding a hell of a lot. He will be a good centre-back for this level. He's still very young as well. But I don't think it was worth him spending the 12 mil on him, just because I'd have spent it on someone that could actually, was proven at this level, like a Rodon. Leeds spent about 12 mil on Rodon, and he's experienced at this level. Personally, he's a good player, but I wouldn't have spent over 10 mil on him.
Interesting. All right.
I think I'll just So where am I with Burnley? It's for me. It's not really about the money they've thrown at it. I think that's kind of it. Didn't really matter to
No,
me.
no, of course not. Yeah,
I think
I agree with you.
where it lies is if you look at their squad, I think there's a lot of quality amongst their ranks than people think. I think you look at forwards, Kuliosho. That's probably very bad pronunciation, but um, if people know what I mean, I'm talking about. He had a really good season last year. Impressed in spells. So did Odebert. He looks quite good.
Quality.
There's already quite a few that had a good spell. First, when Burnley went up, Benson, Zaroury. That's probably on pronunciation again. But then you look to the whole squad. Dara O'Shea in defence. They bought Ladaki from Ipswich, is quite good. And there's quality all around it. And it was sort of, I think, similar to Luton, where it's a squad that was never really ready for the Premier League. But if you look across it on paper, it's a Championship squad, but a top-end Championship squad. And it didn't really look like to me that they didn't need to do anything to it. I think they should have just not spent the money and just rested on the fact that that squad already was quite good and all it needed was a bit more experience to it and it'll do fine. And,
I think they will. They said I think they will do well regardless of who they bring in. Just quickly, because I realise we are pushing an hour and a half here. Do you think the loss of Vincent Kompany is going to do much?
no, because that's why what else I wanted to talk about was Scott Parker, because a lot of people probably won't like him as a manager, but I think his record does speak for itself.
Yeah.
2 promotions, so you can't really argue with that much. Maybe they won't like the style of play too much, but I think with that squad, he's got all the tools he needs to do it again. I think if it would be quite a disappointment, underachievement if he doesn't. There might be certain things that go his way, but if he feels like he needs a few extra players as well, so be it. But the squad's there. He should be able to do it, and he's done it before. So I don't think there's any real reason why they shouldn't go up.
I've just got a question regarding the keeper. Who do you reckon will actually play in goal, Hladky or Trafford?
Trafford.
It's a tough one. Not to be harsh to James Trafford, there is potential there, but if I'm a manager, I'm going with Hladky because he's just coming off the back of a great season with Ipswich, where they've gotten promoted to the Premier League, and he's proven himself, and he's made no real mistakes. So to me, and if you're bringing him in, to me it seems like that's the choice. But maybe they have the luxury to switch goalkeepers. I wouldn't recommend it really, but if you've got 2 similar levels quality in goalkeepers in Trafford and Daki, then maybe you could play both, switch it, rotate it. But
To be fair, they are lucky they
would
have
go
2
with Hladky.
goalkeepers like that.
Yeah, I would personally go with Hladky, but they could switch it up and go with Trafford for a bit. It'll probably depend on form more than anything. I think Trafford has come off quite a difficult period from last season. There was a lot of poor moments, which is a shame because he's a player you thought, after early in his career that he'd go quite near to the top really because he looked quite good. I mean, again, maybe he's like Melier, he's one of those goalkeepers. He doesn't look like a goalkeeper. His frame and his physicality is a bit strange for that of a goalkeeper, but it's up to him. He's got to hold on to that number 1 spot, but he's got tough competition in Hladky really.
Yeah.
Right, Fergus. Finally, let's hear your.
Let's hear this.
Now, I might sound crazy. Okay, I might sound crazy. I could have easily put Sheffield United or Burnley.
Yeah.
But I put Coventry City to win the league.
Okay. So does that mean Sheffield United and Burnley aren't in your league?
They're not in the playoffs now.
Where have you put them, out of curiosity?
Burnley 7th, Sheffield United 8th.
Okay. Also, Harrison, out of curiosity, before Fergus goes, where have you put West Brom?
You cut off there. Fergus, keep talking.
No. Where have you put West Brom?
I've put you to literally just miss out on playoffs.
7th.
16. No, I'm joking. I'll put you 7th. Obviously, I'll put you 7th.
Okay. But I was going through everyone's squads, and I was thinking, like, is there anyone that appeals to me? Anyone that I think, oh yeah, that's quality. I look at some of the business Cov have done. Like Harrison said, they brought in Redoni. They brought in a goalkeeper, Oliver Dovin from Hammarby. He's quite good from what I've seen of him. He's reliable. They've got Binks, who was on loan last year from Bologna.
Yeah.
Asante's just joined them. Don't think he'll be in the starting 11 though. And they're close to getting Oliver Burke on loan as well. But if I'm being honest, there's just something about them. I don't know what it is. When we
Isn't there? There's just something there. Like I know exactly what you mean.
it's I watched a lot of Coventry games last year, and they were brilliant in the games I watched, other than when they played West Brom. No, that wasn't even like a dig. They just had a really bad day when
No,
they
I
played
know.
West Brom. But this season they're getting in Mason Clark, who was at Peterborough last year. He scored on his debut in a friendly the other day. Really good winger. I think he'll set this league alight this year. Front two of Ellis Sims and Haji Wright. Pair that with Asante. They've got Redoni, who'll probably play on the left. Ben Sheep and Josh Eccles in midfield. Van Eyck at right back. They've still got Sakamoto, who's coming back from injury. He got a really bad injury back end of last year.
How far off coming back is he though?
I think he's back.
Is he?
But the options they've got, the depth they've got, and the quality in depth they've got as well, is unbelievable. And I think they could really cause some issues. Mark Robbins is a very good manager. He's brought that club from League Two all the way to the top end of the Championship, and I think he's underrated. I don't think he's talked about enough. And with the players at his disposal, getting those close to playoff finishes in recent years, has been remarkable considering he doesn't have any depth in that squad. And I think now that he's finally actually got some depth to it, they could really push on, and they are my dark horses to win the league this year.
I like it. I like it a lot. And I don't think you're mental doing that at all.
I'll have to apologise to Coventry fans because I don't quite have this feeling that you two seem to have. But it's the Championship, so anything can happen. And as you said, they've added quite a lot of good players to their squad, and it'll just be they've come close, season after season. But will this finally be the one? Have they added enough?
Harry, where have you put them?
What's that? Sorry, where have I? I put them 9th, which is quite low in respect to you. I mean, it's round about where they finished last season, so I think probably I will be proved wrong by that. I think they probably are a good, strong contender for playoffs, but that's just they're purely 9th just because of the strength of the playoffs at the moment. There's going to be a lot of teams around there, and I think I'll definitely be proved wrong in that, but we'll just have to see.
And then I think the last thing we wanted to talk about, have you got any rogue shouts that, teams are expected to go down that you put like mid-table or what?
Not sort of a rogue shout, but I've put Bristol City in 8th, purely because they might still lose Tommy Conway, but I really liked the signing of Armstrong from QPR. I thought that was quite good. And I already liked the squad anyway. Bell is a terrific player. They've got good experience in defence. Max O'Leary's a great goalkeeper. There's good players all around there. And I liked watching them play last season as well. I think they were really good. They gave some of the bigger clubs a headache. Mm-hmm. And they just seem to be on this upwards trajectory. So, yeah, I think they could be quite a surprise this year, pushing on that playoff door.
I've got them 10th, to be fair.
I've got them 10th.
What about you, Arson? Any dark horses? Any underachievers?
I've got Sunderland to finish 25th, which is surprising because there's only 24 teams in a league. No, honestly, mine's looking. I'd say mine's pretty basic. I've got Swansea down there in 20th, which I think might be surprising. Watford in 18th, but yeah.
Fergus?
Well, good question.
It was your question.
Oh yeah. I think QPR will have a really good year. So I've put them 11th.
Okay.
And I think the two rogue ones I've got probably Plymouth finishing 12th and Norwich finishing 13th.
I've got Norwich in 13th as well.
I think Plymouth, although Rooney's got a lot of doubters, I do think the pre-season will help him a hell of a lot. As Harrison said, the signings, they are pretty good signings. Ali Sissoko, I've heard a lot of good things about him. And that's probably what they need, someone to play with Whittaker on the other wing. And then Norwich, they're just a bit naff, aren't they?
They used to scare me, but they don't anymore. But yeah,
I'm sorry if there are any Norwich fans that listen to this, but I just whenever we play them, it's like it's a bit boring, and they might lose their best player, Sarah, because I've heard he might be going to Leeds.
That could be a move, but from what I've understood, a lot of Norwich fans speak on Twitter, they're not really inclined to sell him. It seems like it's between us and Galatasaray. I think if he was to pick, he'd go Galatasaray because that's quite a good move for him. But they're not inclined to sell anyone, and they've got some decent players already. But yeah, no, they could easily fall off from last season. I didn't think anyone expected them really to get playoffs. So I think a fall off could be expected, yeah. Again, like you said, it depends on if players stay. I know Josh Sargent's quite another good one that they'd want to keep as well.
Very good. But yeah.
Are we all done there then?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Okay. It's well, I mean, we're sitting on around an hour 40 at the moment. I will edit that down. I don't really know what we can edit out, to be honest, because a lot of it was.
I don't think it's worth editing down, to be honest. I think the people will want to hear all of this.
I'll have a look through. I always do. I'll have a look through. And if there's anything wild, like putting Portsmouth in 6th, then I'll cut it out. But
You're gonna outro this or not?
yeah, I will outro it. Just a casual. Well, thanks for listening. If you've made it this far, I really appreciate it. If I can get the video from this, then this will be up on YouTube. If not, then it'll be on Spotify regardless. Yeah, I really hope you've enjoyed. I've been Harrison Butler.
I've been Harry Whitfield.
There we go.
And I have been Fergus.
Brennan.
Thank you very much for watching.
Yeah, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.